Let's say I would like to jump on this box, starting with 2 feet on the ground. What would you say I need to be able to do that? You probably would say, start training, strengthen your muscles, work on your speed, exercise, and perhaps you would say, try this when you are young, in your 20s. This is me at 44 years old. For me, this jump is a metaphor for life. To jump on this box, 2 things are essential: trust in yourself and the courage to take that first step, even when it feels uncertain. Let me take you back to my childhood, a time where I first learned about resilience in the face of uncertainty. My upbringing wasn't easy. Far from it. It was full of challenges. Let's just call it difficult. As a child, I was quiet and withdrawn, the observer in the family. At the same time, I developed a strong sense of justice, inspired by my mother. I mostly observed, and my sense of justice grew stronger, thanks to her example for fairness and dealing with problems. We wanted things to improve, but along with that hope came a sense of fear and uncertainty about the unknown. When I was 6 years old, my mother, my sister, and I had no choice but to move from Utrecht to Amersfoort. We were looking for a new start after challenging circumstances. Everything was new, new town, new house, and a new school. Unfortunately, I found myself in a classroom controlled by a bully. Even the teacher couldn't handle it. In this unsafe environment, I was afraid of being targeted, and I didn't want to be a follower. So I made myself small and invisible, hoping to avoid attention. I became reserved and isolated, constantly on high alert. I wasn't focused on my schoolwork. I was focused on survival. Then, when I was 11 years old, the moment came in 7th grade when the bully decided to target me. I remembered we had gym class, and since the teacher wasn't there yet, it was just the bully and me. She was eating a sandwich, and in that moment, she looked at me, and without hesitation, she used my painful traumatic past to hurt me. Her comment grabbed me by the throat. That was the moment I decided enough was enough. Without thinking, I stormed over, looked her directly in the eyes to show I was dead serious. I slapped her hand and sent that sandwich flying meters across the grass. She ran off, screaming for her mother. When I got home, I told my mom what happened. She was concerned and said, "Oh no, now we have to move again." But I'll have to admit, I felt so relieved. The weight on my shoulders felt lighter. And you know what? That was the last time she ever targeted me. Facing my fears and standing up to the bully required courage and trust in myself. But it came with a price. The stress and anxiety of being in an unsafe learning environment made it hard for me to grow. I couldn't concentrate or perform well because I was constantly hyper-aware of the possibility of being bullied. This state of alertness left me exhausted and unable to focus on my study. My teachers didn't give me the benefit of doubt. Instead, they overlooked my struggles. As a result, I felt invisible and unheard, as if I were stuck in front of a box I couldn't jump over. However, over the years, things began to change. When I was 18, I started a new chapter. Excited, but unsure. I decided to study business administration. A school advisor recommended it, mentioning that his daughter had enjoyed the study. And I thought, why not? On my first school day, I walked into the classroom, not knowing what to expect. Would this be another place where I had to stay silent? But then something shifted. A girl sat next to me, and during the lesson, she kept whispering things to me. After class, she asked if I wanted to hang out. And I remember thinking, what does she want from me? I was suspicious. But over time, I realized she just wanted to be my friend. And she wasn't the only one. Our classroom became a little community. We did homework together, we supported each other, and I started to feel at home. For the first time in a long time, I felt supported. I graduated. I was 22 years old, freshly out of school. I started to work in reintegration, helping people find work. It was a commercial job with a clear goal. I needed to place 2 clients into jobs every month. Despite my best efforts, long conversations, careful planning, and a deep investment in each client's story with problems, I struggled to achieve any placement. I worked long hours, even on weekends, trying to understand how I could help my clients. Why wasn't it working? It became a deep frustration. While I was facing this challenging time, I met my husband, a teacher at the university. He saw my passion for education and asked if teaching would be a good fit for me. His question remained in my mind. I quit my job and decided to pursue a social skills study for teachers. A few years later, I ran into an old colleague from my previous job, where I finally understood why I wasn't successful. She told me that I couldn't place anyone because the other trainers received candidates with higher educations and better prospects, while the less employable, the addicted, the chronically ill, and those with a criminal record were placed by me. I was in shock. While I thought the failure was my own, I realized I had been set up to fail by the system and the dynamics within the team. This made me see how important it is to have fair opportunities at work. It also motivated me to take control of what I wanted, even though I didn't know exactly how to achieve it at age 24. Anyway, I graduated. Finally, I was filled with excitement and confidence to start teaching. I walked into my first job interview as a teacher, feeling positive, knowing that all the hard work had prepared me for this moment. I will never forget that day. When the woman in front of me saw me, her expression turned into anger. She pushed my resume aside, raised her voice, and asked where I found the audacity to stand in front of the class wearing a headscarf. I felt terrible. She kept saying unreasonable things to me. So I looked her colleague in the eye so she would speak up. But she remained silent the entire time. She chose to watch as I was insulted, simply because I wore a headscarf. At first, I kept silent, trying to understand what issues she had to insult me. When she got tired, she asked if I had anything to say. I told her that I don't want to work in this toxic environment, then stood up and walked out. This negative experience didn't stop me. Instead of giving up, I kept applying for teaching positions, determined to find the right opportunity. I knew I had the skills and passion to make a difference, and I wasn't going to let that setback hold me back. My next job interview was a positive one. I became a social skills teacher, determined to teach and to create a safe learning environment that I had missed during my own school years. My mission was to ensure that my students felt seen and valued, providing them with the support that I had needed. One day, while I was teaching, a student asked me, "Are you a psychologist? You sound like Dr. Phil." I couldn't resist replying, "Couldn't you compare me with somebody with hair?" It was a light-hearted moment, but that simple comment planted the seed. It triggered the idea that I could integrate my experiences into helping others in a more meaningful way. So, after 14 years of working as a teacher, I decided to study psychology at the Open Universiteit while balancing family, work, and study. It was a challenging time studying during COVID, balancing online teaching, and homeschooling my children. I was able to manage it all. In fact, I was even named Ambassador of the Year 2023. And you know what? I not only became a psychologist, I also ended up with hair. Growth isn't just what others see in you, it's what you see in yourself and how far you're willing to push. True growth is constantly rising above obstacles with willpower and support. Which brings us back to this box as a metaphor for a long and healthy life. The first time I saw this box, I felt an attraction. I wanted to jump running straight toward it. I played it over and over in my mind. But when it came to the actual jump, I froze. I was afraid of getting hurt. Fear held me back because I saw someone get injured attempting the same jump. So, what to do? Quit? No. Instead of giving up, I started preparing. I started exercising to build both my physical strength and mental focus. Even though I hesitated at first, I kept training, building confidence and pushing through self-doubt. Eventually, I found the willpower to try again. And this time, I succeeded. To my surprise, I was offered the chance to become a sports instructor. I doubted whether I could talk and jump at the same time. Despite my hesitation, the support and belief from those around me helped again. Now I can't stop talking during my classes. Just ask my participants. At 43 years old, I started a practice that blends psychology, sports, and courses to help others in their journey to well-being. I've seen firsthand how physical activity can boost my own confidence and improve my well-being. In my sessions, I encourage movement as a way to cope with stress, build resilience, and create a positive mindset. Whether through group classes or individual coaching, I strive to create an environment where everyone feels empowered to challenge themselves and grow. My holistic approach balances mental resilience with physical well-being. I treat both men and women with mental complaints, for example, burnout, depression, and trauma. For sports, I'm a woman-only trainer, and my courses include diverse audiences. So far, I have offered 2 courses, A Healthy Mind in a Healthy Body for women and Resilience for young people. Let me give you an example of a client story. I treated a woman struggling with obesity, while an underlying trauma was involved. Her weight was seen as the cause of her struggles. But during the treatment, it became clear that she couldn't lose weight because she felt safe in her body, like a protective shield she could hide behind. Once we discovered this, we started exercising and held one-on-one sessions. With coaching, she coped with her trauma and lost weight, feeling mentally and physically fit. So, here I am, a speaker at TEDx. I have to be honest. When I received the email, I read it 3 times, just to make sure I understood it correctly. I even asked a friend, does this really say I'm invited to give a TED Talk? I felt honored, but also a bit nervous, because it feels like a whole new level. I had my doubts, but my friend said, you're going to do it. And you know what? You take the step yourself, but you don't have to do it alone. Jumping onto this box represents more than just physical strength. It reflects the courage to try, the growth that comes from facing challenges, and the determination to overcome limiting beliefs and anxious expectations. Gosh, she's fit. Thank you.